What's up, everybody? Sean here for another live Live to Roll. This week, we're talking to my buddy Jeremy, who is a badass welder and does a bunch of other cool stuff. But we're going to be talking a lot about the art and stuff he does. So let's just get some quick intros in. My name's Sean, C5, C6 quad from a snowboarding accident almost 17 years ago. My injury date is coming up soon. I think I'm actually really close to Jeremy's date. We're like almost injury brothers. But Tom, you
Wow.
want to do a quick intro?
Sure. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Conaway, another C5, C6 quad. Been paralyzed 24 years. And I'll toss it on over to our other glorious co host, Bobby Rohan.
Thanks a lot, Tom. My name is Bobby. I'm a C56 quad as well, of 32 years coming up myself as well. Good to be back, and I'm going to move it over to our guest of the week, Jeremy.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh crap!
For 17 years now, so just had my anniversary on the 10th. Just rolling.
Nice,
You broke
man.
up for a second. What was your level of injury, Jeremy?
Was C6.
C6. And you said 17 years.
15 years, yep.
What kind of accident, if you don't mind me asking?
Racing motocross.
Okay.
Landed and broke C5, C7.
Wow.
That's a dangerous sport, but a fun one for sure.
It was up until that day.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
I was 20.
20, okay.
Damn, yeah, I was 21, so we are really close, man. Because my 17 date will be on the 31st, so we're like 3 weeks apart, and like I guess I was a year older than you though when I did mine, but we're pretty close on that.
That's crazy. Between the four of us, we almost probably got 100, like close like 75 years of quad experience in our belts. That's pretty wild.
That is a lot.
That's some quad living for sure. So Jeremy, can you tell us a little bit about what you do? You're kind of here to talk about your art and your welding and stuff and just quad life, but were you a welder before you were injured? Was that what you were trying to do with life, or were you motocrossing, and how'd you get into it?
So welding just kind of came out of the blue. I was a flooring installer before I got hurt, and then once I got hurt, I went back to that same job, but I was a salesman, working in an office, and it wasn't for me really. And their business kind of away, so back home, and I needed a gift for my mom for her birthday, and I broke as a joke, but my had a welder in the garage and some scrap metal, and I asked if I could try to make a flower for her, and he helped me kind of cut out the pieces and teach me, how to weld a little bit, and I made some really ugly ass welds and put the flower together and loved it, and I just kind of fell in love from there. So I've been doing it now for 10 years, I think, and yeah, man, I love it. It's the job.
So what kind of welding do you do? Is it a gas welder, like an arc welder?
Started off doing MIG welding. It's pretty much the easiest thing to do as a quad, and then a few years later, learned TIG weld, which is crazy hard. It took years and years and years of getting it down, but I've gotten it down pretty good now. So yeah,
And for those of you who don't know, like MIG welding and TIG welding is like a very like technical form of welding. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill to get down. And I don't know like the details of it. Jeremy could probably go into a little bit more. But how does that work as a quad with your quad hands and stuff? Do you have any fine
Yeah.
motor control issues, or like what's like how do you do it?
Hey, while
Yeah,
you talk
so
right now, I'm gonna show just some of your art on the screen while you're talking, just so you know. Just, but don't let it distract you.
so TIG welding, um, with a MIG welder, it's pretty easy. Just you have a gun and you need to pull a trigger. You got to have the skills to kind of lay down a good weld with that. But when you're TIG welding, you have a foot pedal, you have filler metal, and then you also have a torch. So you got to be able to run three things at one time. and I have no finger function whatsoever. So I hold the TIG torch in my right hand, kind of pinch it between my fingers. I hold the filler rod in my left hand, pinched between a couple other fingers, and then I put the foot pedal up on my table and I run it with my elbow. So kind of doing two things with my
That
left arm.
sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So it's definitely taken some time to get it down, but yeah, I've gotten pretty.
So I think the biggest question, you're trying to do all these things at once. How often are you burn yourself? Have you ever burned yourself, or is it pretty safe?
Have you ever
Yeah,
shocked yourself?
I've burnt myself quite a few times. I actually have my welding table is a fixture table, so it's got 5/8 inch round holes all across it. And I was welding a piece one time, and part of the filler metal fell off the piece, and it fell one of those holes. I didn't know where it went, and then my started tweaking out. And come to find out later, that piece of filler had fell into my sock in my shoe and burnt this giant hole in my ankle. So I've got about a quarter size scar just from that, and that's probably the worst one that I've had.
Oh, that's not
Yeah, that sounds gnarly, dude. What was that right there?
It's relatively safe.
Do you have like for your lap, or do you have like a big apron, a protector over your lap for those kind of moments?
Well, not for TIG welding because I'm lazy, but that's a lot of the TIG weld stuff because it's so neat that when you're MIG welding, you got sparks flying everywhere. So I wear leather for that. Wasted some seat cushions, popped some tires. Definitely burnt my lap, so I learned my lesson on that. But yeah, TIG welding which is nice, is that I can pretty much do it in a t-shirt and a pair of gloves.
That's cool.
So I stick to that most of the time. I just make sure that I keep away from the hot stuff.
So do the gloves like interfere with your gripping and stuff? I mean, I'm just imagining you like trying to do this like fully T&D's out, like flexing your wrist, like doing this, trying to hit the pedal with your elbow and stuff, and like it's tripping me out. And then you add gloves to the mix, and like how does that affect your grip and everything? Like, I mean, it's nuts.
It helps things actually. So because of the gloves that I wear, honking MIG gloves, the ones I wear are pretty tight. They're almost like rugby gloves. So it kind of actually helps out with holding the TIG torch and being able to stuff the filler wire in my fingers and it actually staying where it needs to stay. Plus, I can grab onto hot without roasting myself or whatever. But it's just a lot of thing and getting things kind of set where they're supposed to be and then holding them there. So the gloves help a lot.
And then I'm just sure a lot of practice, a lot of trying different stuff. That's so
trial
cool.
and error.
Oh man, so much. The first was crazy hard, and I was trying to run things because I'm right-handed, so I tried to do a lot of the filler work and run to the pedal with my right hand, and it just didn't work. So I switched it over to the left side, and man, it just is a different world over there. So
crazy.
When you say you have the foot pedal for your elbow, is it like on your lap, or is it do you have it on a bracket where you can get to it easily?
On my table, so I keep it loose. That way, if I'm getting into some different positions or have to go high or low or whatever, I can adjust it with just scoot my elbow around. And it's the easiest way to control it because with some of the welds that I do, you've got to be within 5 amps. So you got to be really steady with it, especially with doing like the couple pieces with the name. If you get too hot, you're gonna blow it out, and if you're too cold, it's gonna be ugly. So having it somewhere that I can control it with ease seems to be on the table for me.
Cool.
Nice. So yeah,
and were you an artist beforehand? Did you work with, like drawings and stuff like that before your accident, or did you invent? Is that part of it?
Not really, man. I mean, I did some drawing when I was in high school, and I doodled a bit, on a sketch pad after getting hurt. Just, passing the time, didn't really know what to do when I first got hurt. But yeah, the creativity came from only having, scrap metal. That's what I started doing at first, was scrap art, and just taking somebody's junk, which my friend bought a junk, so they brought it to my house, and I was trying to make money, so I turned it into, whatever, animal, snowmen,
Yeah,
whatever.
there's a little
So
snowman.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what
Awesome.
I actually like. Earlier, it's been several years now, but my mom bought me one of your the rugby chair like ones with like the larger ones with the saw blade wheels and stuff. But I think it was like my
Oh, yeah.
birthday present or something like that. She ordered it from you for a few years back. Let me show a couple of your. This is a littler one, but mine's big. Mine's like good size. Oh,
yeah, you
crap.
got the chairs.
Do you have any like custom like modified like welding equipment, or is it all like pretty standard stuff that you just like use in a different way?
No, it's all it's all standard stuff. I don't think I've really modified anything when it comes to my setup. I do want to build some kind of bikes, because there's a lot of times where I'm welding that's just really high out of position, and I can't reach hold the filler to where I need it. So one of these days I'll figure out a way to make a bike, but I haven't got there quite yet.
Right on.
Yeah, no, yeah, I imagine you're kind of always constantly like developing and thinking of like different ways of trying things and doing things too. I mean, that's just part of the craft, I'm sure. But that makes a lot of sense though. It's like a very like seems like it takes a lot of like fine motor, like it's like sensitive. So if you had like things to accommodate you, like it seems like it would just be in your advantage to have your hands on the welder, like on the tools that you're using, especially when you're making fine art and stuff like that. It's probably super important.
Absolutely, yeah, because you can fix things for the most part, but there's some pieces that I've worked on where if I screw them up, man, it's gonna ruin the whole thing, especially on like pieces like that.
Yeah, it's like cool little. It's like these are cool, like little intricate pieces that are like I can't like. That seems really hard to make, but like those are like washers, right? Like that's only if like what 6 inches long or something, a few inches long.
That piece is, I think it's about a foot long, all set.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So
Oh,
how long would a
nice.
piece like that take?
Here's another angle.
That was the first one I ever made, so it took a long time to figure it out. But I probably got 15, 20 hours just that little guy.
Wow. Damn. Oh, here, let me see. I'll show you this close up.
Physically, how long are you
look
able to go?
That's so cool right there. Yeah, dude, how long? I was curious about that too. Like, how long can you weld for a session? Because like I feel like after an hour or two, like a couple hours, I'd burn out, bro. Like,
No, depending on what the job is, I'll work 8 hours at a time.
nice.
If
Damn.
I have anything else going on, the kids are.
I can feel the burn in my lats and my triceps and stuff right now, thinking about holding the torch for 8 hours, trying to do all that.
Oh, that's a tiny.
Hey, yo, that's some good workout, though.
Well, the nice thing is that when I do it on my table, I get to rest my elbows on everything, so that takes a lot of
for sure.
Right.
out of it, balance and all that stuff. But like on the last job that I did, the big fire cover that I built, it was all MIG welding, but it was out of position, just weird stuff. I've had a couple buddies come over and help me build it, and one of them is a full-time welder, and he's in there just ripping it out, doing his welds like it's nothing, and I'm coming over there trying to keep my cover not all over, and yeah, so it was definitely venture.
So,
Right.
have you ever thought about getting into the real stuff, welding your own chair or designing a rugby chair?
No, man, I'm gonna leave that stuff up to the pros. I I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna show the one thing. Recently, Jeremy did just make a really cool barbecue cover that's huge, like crazy cool cutouts. It's really nice. So I'm gonna just show some of those pictures if yeah, he's down.
Yeah.
Let me see
That's-
here, get the. But like this is like a massive like he built the whole cover, and all that intricate work in there, all the cutouts.
Oh,
think I
man,
have some
that is so cool. That looks like it would take a hot minute to do some of those intricate designs like that.
My buddy's the one that cut all that out with his CNC plasma cutter.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. The original plan was for me to kind of build it a lot differently, but the customer wanted some pretty cool designs, and good thing is I have buddies that have the tools to do something cool like that, so we were able to collaborate on it and make a really cool piece for our customer.
So is that what you do for a living now? Is it custom commissions? Like you do like design artwork and stuff like that?
Yep, that's it, man. Every day,
Awesome.
that's what we
That
do.
is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
what would something like that run me? Like what would a custom commission cost? I guess it would depend on the size and what I wanted, huh?
it all depends. And the thing about a lot of the work that I do is I don't charge a lot, man. I want people to be able to buy stuff and enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I don't charge a ton. Probably should charge more than I do, but I just want to get my stuff out there and have people enjoy it. Go from there,
Heck yeah. How long has it been a business? When did it go from a hobby to a business?
I turned it into a business probably 2 years after I started welding, so it's been going for like 8.
Man, oh man, that is a pretty cool piece right there, with like the color
Yeah.
change.
Seattle, the skyline cutout, yeah, or like the
Seattle.
that's
For
pretty
sure.
cool too, yeah. Yeah, these are
Are
just
you
ones I
selling-
just was like,
Go ahead,
go
John.
ahead. I was just saying these are all just random, like these are just ones that just scrolling through Jeremy's page. So if you guys want to check out his stuff, follow him on Instagram. He's got a bunch of stuff on there, and I have all his info in the description too if you want to check him out, and his info if you want to order anything too, just for people's info. Just
You
so
are
they know.
at Jeremy's GimpArt, but what is the name of your business?
It is
Jeremy's
Jeremy's
Gimp.
Gimp.
Okay, awesome. That's easy.
And
I got-
so are you? I didn't see where to get your stuff, but is it on Etsy or where can we get your
No.
stuff?
All my pieces are made to order.
Okay.
So
if I think of something, you'll try to see if I can come up with it.
Just get
Yeah,
in those
you got
DMs.
and I'll build it. A lot of my orders too come off of old things that I built, where either I'll modify it or build the exact same one or whatever it is. So that's just kind of how it evolved from the beginning. Was it started with a couple pieces of just scrap metal, turned into whatever somebody wants. We'll grab some scrap and turn it into it. It's been pretty
Yeah,
fun.
my
'cause it
My rugby
makes
chair
me-
you made me is made out of like old saw blades and wrenches and just like some of the metal you bent and did, but it's like recycled tools and stuff, which I thought was badass. Like it's super cool.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
done with it in years, so that's pretty cool that you have one and get to rock it.
Yeah, dude. I'm still gonna get. I probably if we ever get back to like being able to do like these live shows and stuff, I wanted to get one for the Abilities Expo last year, but one of your cool little rugby chair business card holders. So he makes like business card holders like for people's like on your desk that are the rugby chairs or different chairs, and they're perfectly made to sit business cards, and they're really cool. I wanted to get one, but I just had a lot getting ready for that show, and then COVID happened, and there is no more shows. So.
Yeah.
So, what difficulties, if any, have you had? Like, have you like started a project, like you like ran into like an issue, or you like couldn't overcome it with the disability, or like an issue with that, like that you had to work on and problem solve, or that you still haven't figured out? Like, are there things that you like do try to problem solve still?
Yeah, I mean, I think every project I do, I run into something that's a pain in the ass, and it's hard to do. But I've learned over the years that there's always going to be a way to figure it out. And if I can't get it myself, I've got friends around that I can call over to come hold something, or help me bend this into place or whatever. But most of the time, I'm able to do all of it on my own, which is nice. But like I said, there's always something I run into that's kind of hard. But once I do, it's nice because I figured it out. And then for the next one, I'm like, hey, this game comes up, I can figure it out and use, what I.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like just living the crypt life. Like problems come up, and you just figure out how to problem solve them. And if you can't figure it out yourself, you call up your homies and ask them how they do it. Ask for some help. No, that's awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the first time's always the toughest, and then once you get it down, like you probably knock them out. Like once you figure out how to get like a particular weld or make a little piece like that racing chair one. That thing looked like it.
Yeah, that was did that one, and I did a hand cycle at the same time, and I've done a probably 4 or 5 of the hand cycles now, and the first one was really hard, but once I got it figured out, man, they go out pretty quick. So
Nice.
So Jeremy, when you're no problem. Wanted to kind of get out of just seeing when you're not welding, what else are you doing? What do you do during the day?
Well, usually when there isn't COVID around, I'm playing rugby. But
Right.
other than that, man, I got a family. I'm married. I got 3 kids. So
There you go.
takes up. We got
That'll keep you busy, man.
Yeah, that's. We got 3 dogs. Got a bunch of chickens. So we've always got something going on at home. So there's never really a lot of time.
Yeah, Jeremy's got a cool shop dog named Tig. Also, it's a badass little bulldog.
What a rugby team you play for?
Oh,
Yeah, he's a cool dog, man. I wish you have the patience to hang out with me in the shop anymore. Once he got big, he just wants to chew on everything. So he gets to stay in the house now.
What rugby team do you play for?
I play for the Seattle Slam.
How long after your injury did you get into rugby?
I think it was 1 year. Just under.
Okay, so pretty quick.
Yeah.
You're in it.
Yeah,
Playing
it was
some
funny
wheelchair bumper cars.
when I first I had Lynn Nelson, who was playing on the U.S. team at the time, come up and show me a VHS tape of some rugby, and it was from like a mile away, and I had no interest. And I was like, man, this looks just stupid. And then Murder Ball came out just after I got hurt, so I loved that movie, and then I went and tried it the first time in Seattle, and fell in love, and I haven't left now. So it's been 16 years.
That's super cool.
yeah, man, that's awesome.
Is that how you? So that's how you and Sean met, right? Like it's through the rugby world.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. Because I met Jeremy. I think we were both pretty new. Like I might have came in like maybe the year after he did, or like about like. Because I've been playing probably about 15-ish years or so, 14, 15 for sure. So, yeah, it took me a couple years after my injury. I wasn't as quick to jump into it. I was a little slower, but yeah, man, I think I was like a year after. Like I pretty much when I was coming in, Jeremy was like one of the guys that like already had he was still new, but like he kind of knew what was up already. So like, and he was just cool. So like I just seemed like somebody I wanted to be friends with.
Oh, for sure. No, Jeremy definitely.
Sean had to wait until I retired before he can get some
That's
time
true.
on the court.
Well, I had you and then Mike DeYoung, man. That's why my rugby time was always. I always had .5s that were like a little like just more advanced than I was. So
That's
yeah,
so cool, though. I waited 23 years till after my injury to start going to some rugby practices and getting into a rugby wheelchair. But it's freaking fun, man. Like, it is so cool, dude. It's like some of the most fun I've had, like doing like adaptive rec. It's like, catching, a rugby ball and like trying to get my ass across that line. Um, but but yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's my addiction. It's rugby and work. So
So
heck
how
yeah,
does that
man.
work with the COVID stuff? Has like all the rugby kind of just stopped completely, or do you guys practice still? Like scrimmage? Like, is there any way to do it?
yeah, no, we haven't been. I haven't been in my rugby chair in months. But we haven't played or practiced since March. That was the last time that we were able to all be together. So,
Yeah.
we get a few guys to once a week, every couple weeks when the weather's all right, and we'll go for a push in our day chairs or whatever in downtown Tacoma, down by the water. But that's pretty
Yeah.
much the only thing we're able to do as a team. We're
Damn.
chomping at the back in our chairs and start hitting people, man. Because you don't realize how big of an outlet that is for you, or how much it consumes your life until you don't have it anymore. So it's definitely been one of the hardest things since COVID began. So my
Yeah,
team's
you're
like
up,
my family, brothers and
so
sisters.
you're up in Seattle, Tacoma, Washington, right?
Yeah.
So what is that like? You got 3 Southern California boys here, and we don't have bad weather ever. I mean, once in a great while. Like today, it's called a windy day, and that's terrible for us. So what's it like with the weather up there? Getting to Seattle for practices, or what's that like?
Yeah, so I live about an hour from where we practice at in Seattle. The nice thing is that it's just a ferry ride from where I live, so it's pretty easy. I've got to deal with traffic and stuff like that, but we've got a sweet gym set up. We've been there for years, and most of our players are pretty close to where we practice. So we usually have a good turnout when everybody can go, and we don't get to do much of our training outside. But when it's nice out, especially in the summertime, we get out and push hills, and there's some spots at our home gym where we're able to push outside. So we don't get to do any heat. Still fun.
I imagine as like a badass rugby playing quad, you don't use any power assists, and you're probably in a manual chair, right?
Yeah.
Like Sean, yeah.
And I get made fun of for my power
Bobby,
assist wheels.
You guys are always trying to like one up us like other quads out here, trying to show off and shit with your fancy quad skills, which is dope. And you also drive too, which is because you're sitting in your truck, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how long did that come? Like after your injury, like driving is something that's like right on my horizon. Like I really want to tackle, and again, like I'm coming into it kind of late in the game, but I don't think it's ever too late to start and
Absolutely.
try. So what do you drive, and how long did it take for you to get into it?
I started driving less than a year after getting hurt. I had a truck, the 4-wheel drive S10. We got hand controls put in it, and we lowered it. And it was scary as hell the first time driving, because they talk about it. It's gonna take you a while to learn and figure everything out, and worried about falling over and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I got the truck and we went to a parking lot. I drove around the parking lot, did a few circles, and it was like second nature. You don't forget how to drive. So
And you can just transfer from your manual straight to the driver's seat, or does the
Yeah.
driver's seat pop out? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, in that truck, I just hopped in with a sliding board. The truck I have now, I've got a lifted Chevy Silverado, So I've got the Bruno tourney seat in it, and then a crane in the.
Nice.
So it's quite a bit of a jump from my
You
chair up to the seat,
kind of see the crane.
but it's not too horribly. But
Yeah,
it's definitely.
It's a good little transfer. I mean, it's not too bad, but I feel so. Does that because you have the seat that comes out, or do you transfer just into the thing? Is that you said you have the Bruno seat that comes out, right?
Yeah, it comes out.
So my question is, I've always been curious about this on those. Like, and you live in Washington where it rains a lot. Like, like, how much of a pain in the ass is that though? Like getting in and out of your car when it's got, at least if it's a light drizzle, maybe not so bad. But
Yeah, I plan all of my driving events from the weather. So
okay,
if pissing down, I'm not going anywhere, man. Because it's a 5-minute ordeal, getting the chair to come
Yeah,
out.
no, yeah.
oh,
Umbrella over your head while you like transfer either.
But funny thing, I got tired of the rain so much. Vince from my team, he's our equipment guy. I joked with him about getting an umbrella hat, and so he bought me like 4 umbrella hats. I rocked
yes,
it.
yeah, you use them.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, that's cool. Oh man, that was always my thought because I always kind of wanted to get a truck like that. I always thought that would be really cool to do, but I was like, man, like that just would suck. Like when it's like raining or anything, or like if you get caught out and like maybe you thought it wasn't gonna rain, but all of a sudden it just hits you.
Yeah. We get used to here with the rain. We're gonna get wet anyways, but there's those days where it's just coming down, man, and it's like a minivan doesn't sound horrible today, but
That's
99% of the time. Other than that, I love my trucks. So.
truck looks a lot cooler. I would give you that for sure.
Definitely. And our
So-
little minivan.
Being in Washington, in that outdoor wonderland that is that beautiful state, do you get outdoors a lot in your chair? Are you able to? Like, are you able to get out in the water, being so close? Like, what, like, do you do any of that stuff?
Oh yeah, man. I live for being outside. I hate being
All
cooped
right,
up
me too.
inside.
Awesome. Yeah.
No.
So how do you
I do a
tackle
lot-
that being a quad?
What's that?
So how do you tackle that? Like being the quad,
Well, I used to have a Polaris Razor that had hand controls in it, so I take that out a
Nice.
ton. And then ended up not using it very often. But I've wanted a boat forever. So last year, just as the pandemic started, the wife and I went out and bought a pontoon boat. So any day that it was not, I mean, almost every day during the summer we were out on that boat. So luckily we have the water probably 10 minutes from our house, so we'll just
Nice.
take it down, get out and go fishing, or just cruise around, or whatever, hang out with our friends. So yeah, we're
and how do you
always
get in the boat? Are you able to just like roll on to it, or like how does that work?
So that was the plan when I first got the boat, because another guy on our team has a pontoon boat, but it's only got 2 pontoons on it, so it sat like perfectly level with a dock, so you could roll straight onto it. But the pontoon boat that I bought is a tri-tune, and it sits a lot higher out of the water. So the wife has to we have to pop a wheelie, and then she's gonna kind of lift the back end of my chair in. But yeah, I can wheel onto it, hop into
There you
the
go.
driver.
That's
Nice,
dope.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
a-
Pontoon boat would be the way to go. I've seen your pictures out there. It looks fun. Looks.
Yeah, I
Dude,
love being out in the water.
I used to use my razor, a few times a year, and I don't know how many hours I put on it, but I probably, in the whole time that I had bought it in 2009, I got rid of it last year, and I probably only put maybe 50 hours, 60 hours on it. I think I put that on my boat this summer. So definitely.
Dang.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, especially if you're gonna get the use out of it, dude. I'm sure during the winter months it's probably gonna sit for a little bit, but yeah, dude, that thing's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah,
So
it sits out my.
go
I get sapped.
ahead. What'd you say, Jeremy? Sorry, I think I cut you off there for a second.
My boat's sitting outside my front window, so I have to stare at it every day as it just sits there.
Yeah, man, that's tough. That's
Uh,
tough. So
yeah,
I'm kind
dude.
of curious, Jeremy, if you don't mind me asking, how'd your rehab go? It sounds like you got pretty like involved in like rugby and like off to the races driving and stuff. What was your rehab like following your injury? Like, what was your support system like? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
Oh yeah, I had a great support system, man. My friends and my family were absolutely clutch when it came to that. They were always there. I always had somebody with me up at the hospital, and I did rehab at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, so I didn't have big hospitals to do rehab, which was nice. But I was there for 2 months doing rehab, and I hit it pretty hard. It was good, but once I got discharged, I did some outpatient, but it didn't really do a whole lot for me. But so I had probably a good 6 months where I didn't do much of anything other than once or twice a week we'd do the outpatient rehab, but it just wasn't really anything. But it was rugby that kind of got me going. Not just the rugby part, but it was the everyday stuff from other guys on the team.
Yeah.
How to dress and all that stuff. I learned all that from them instead of out of a book or out of whatever the PT or OTs or whatever are trying to teach me. So
You learned it straight from the source. Exactly.
oh yeah, man. You learn so much more as they're in that situation.
Oh man,
Right.
yeah. There's no other better way to learn than like being around a bunch of other quads and seeing how they do
Yes.
shit.
Yeah.
Stephen Ike, I don't know if you can read that, but he says at a rugby tournament he broke his chair, and in the middle of the game you welded his foot plate back on for him, and he was able to finish the tournament.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you got to thank you. They are. That's awesome, man.
That was a
But that happens at tournaments all the time, dude. We break, you'll break your pick or your foot plate. You'll break things snap, dude. So like to have a welder, to have somebody that can do it is like super like that's vital.
Yeah, it's just a very unique and like really cool skill to have and carry forward, like for all kinds of different applications, whether it's fixing chairs or making fine art, apparently, because he makes some really amazing looking stuff. Um,
Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna show. Some of the pictures I didn't show real quick for your welding, just to touch on that again, is some of your bead lines. I was just gonna throw some of these up here that were just these are just random ones I just pulled. Like I didn't even look for anything super special. These are just standard pictures he has. So yeah, they're some really clean work. Is that the same?
So I'm into metallurgy, like a little bit, just as like a layman. I've never welded before or anything like that, but I read about it a little bit, and I've known some other welders. Now, for someone, a fellow quad, who might be interested in trying one day and getting my hands dirty, where do I start? Like, what's your recommendation for getting going? Should I just get myself a little cheap MIG welder and dive on in?
Yeah, man. Honestly, that or if you know somebody that has a MIG welder, give it a try, dude. That's gonna be the easiest and quickest way to learn, and
Yeah.
most inexpensive. So, what I did, it was probably the ugliest thing you've ever seen the first few times, but with hours and hours and hours of practice, and I didn't go to school for any of the welding that I've done.
Yeah.
All off of practice and lots of YouTube videos, and there's lots of the welding community is pretty damn awesome, because if you have a question about something, especially on Instagram, man, you just shoot somebody a message. If you have a question about anything, most of the guys on there are really helpful, and they'll guide you in the right direction to get you going where you need to go. So there's always somebody out there that wants to help. And I'm always trying to help.
Awesome. That's cool to know that there's like a really like good community out there that's open to new people. I like that.
Yeah,
Just like
Awesome. Yeah, man. Like I have like been really curious about it for a long time, but it's always just been something that I felt like was kind of out of reach for me. But now that you talked about doing it like so casually, man, like it's really kind of inspired me to find someone with a MIG welder and try to get my hands dirty a little bit. I think that'd be really cool to play around with.
yeah, man. Probably a month ago, I got a message from this chick that her boyfriend used to be a welder before he got hurt, and he started following me, and they started following me, and I posted a couple videos of either I was grinding, welding, whatever it was, and he went out and it kind of gave him that spark that he wanted to give it a try, and they sent me some videos of him welding up some stuff at their house, and he just fell back in love with it.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome for me, man, because you don't really think kind of what you're doing, and that wasn't the purpose of me showing my stuff, but it inspired him to start welding. Man, I was so stoked on that.
Yeah, and
really
sometimes
cool,
that's all it takes is just seeing someone in your situation doing it. It's like opens your eyes, reveals those possibilities. That is super, super cool. Very inspiring.
So do you know other fellow disabled welders out there? Have you been able to meet them, or have you been inspired by any of them?
Yeah, I have a couple of friends that are. There's not many quads that I know of that weld. Austin, he welds.
I actually almost thought about seeing if Austin wanted to join us too, but I'm gonna try to bring him on and talk about scuba stuff because like he does all that. He like is all certified, lived in Guam and all that. But yeah, he's the other quad welder that I know. But he's got a little more function than you do. So
yeah, that dude's rad, man. We want to collaborate pretty soon. But yeah, man, it's just cool to see other guys in the same situation doing it up, and I have a few friends that are pairs that weld. So the more I can get more quads out there, grabbing a welder and just giving it a try, man. It's just it's awesome to see it happen.
Yeah, it is. Back in my day, 30 years ago, we had down in Santa Barbara when they had a rugby team. There was a quad, and he had his own shop and own business, and did his own chairs, did other people's chairs, and helped us fix our chairs during the season. So it was pretty inspirational and awesome to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a little bit sad when you have another quad or another cripple working on stuff.
Yeah, no, it's cool, especially when you're able to inspire people that maybe thought, like that dude might have not ever thought he could weld again, but just seeing that somebody else was doing it just was enough to get that, just give him that push he needed. So,
and
that's
dude,
awesome,
I would
man.
so much rather like commission like a quad like welder to like build something for me than someone with some able-bodied function.
See, I feel like you're not even getting paid fair enough though, because you probably have to put in so many more man hours than a regular able-bodied to make the same type of piece. So people should appreciate that, man, that extra time and effort that you're putting in on.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think about that a lot. Certain stuff is, for an able-bodied person, some of the stuff I make is it'd be easy for them to build, but the amount of time it takes me to build it. So some things I definitely can't charge by the hour, or they'd be paying thousands of dollars.
I do think you can see a lot of the time, and like the quality you put into it. Like my product was like seeing your art, man, because it is some really truly like impressive, creative, cool, original stuff. So it's really awesome, man. And I think a lot of that does come across in your pieces, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
that's really cool.
Yeah, those are probably some of my favorites right there.
Yeah, these are really cool. And I don't know if I showed a picture earlier of the handlebar and like the detail, like it's a quarter and it's like the Allen keys. It's badass. That thing's cool.
Those were yeah. God.
Yeah, that looks like it, man. That looks like I don't know how you could do that intricate of little work. Like, man, that just seems like
Like
that would be really.
to hold it and then start welding at the same time.
I get intimidated like trying to plug a USB in my computer, man. Like my hands shaking all over the place, dude. Like I'd be a little scared with like a torch and like a feeding wire like in hand, trying to do it all. But it's like I said, it's cool. It's cool to see. And dude, honestly, like seeing it makes me want to try it because it's like, damn, like if one quad can do it, then I feel like I have a shot at least being able to try to do it.
I know. I'll go out there. I'll go outside and water my grass or the garden, and I mean half the time it's hit me in the face. So I can only imagine with a welder in my hands. Whoa, geez.
It could get dangerous fast.
Yes, definitely got to exercise some caution.
So if I have a custom foot plate and I'm about to get a new wheelchair and nobody says they can do it now from the last person that did it. So if I want a custom foot plate, what do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I could probably do that. Nice. Yeah, as long as I'm not building the man, I could probably handle it.
Yeah, man, that would be a pain, dude. Building full chairs, like, that seems like that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure, man. I leave it up to the guys that do that stuff, and Clayton's new chairs that they're building. You don't mess with some perfection like that. So I'll leave it to the pros.
Here, I got a random question from the chat from Morgan earlier. This is probably just for any of us, but she was asking if the bars on a folding chair can be welded straight so she can make it a rigid chair. Yeah.
if you can imagine it, then probably.
just weld that thing straight and just call it a day.
Yeah.
Welded.
It's funny.
And then,
one of our good quad friends, Jeanette, like on her power chairs, she hated them sticking out, so she went into her mechanic shop and they just took a saw and just sawed her handlebars like down a couple inches so they weren't sticking out anymore. It's like, hey, there you go. It's solution to the problem.
There you go. Yeah.
You got to grind down, the sharp edges. And they were good to go.
Oh man, awesome.
Have those skills, so.
You'll get a kick out of it. Back in the day, I mean, our front ends 30 years ago were 75-degree front ends, and all of a sudden they started putting out chairs with 90-degree, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could get that, but it didn't way too soon to get a new chair, so we just cut off the front end and put a 90-degree bend on it and welded it back together.
There you go.
That's.
I mean, it was pretty. It seemed like it worked and the chair pushed straight. So it was. I was pretty risky to do it at the time.
As long as it doesn't fall off, man, you're good to go.
Yeah, man. Just make sure the weld is strong.
Don't hop.
Oh man. So we got another question too. What type of welder do you prefer with your limited mobility? I know you kind of already answered that, but I think he was later. So if you want to recap.
So I welder TIG welder just because it's so much cleaner. The welds just look better. I don't have to put on leather, and it's so much, I guess, not less work, but the end result I think looks a lot better, cleaner, just nicer all around. So TIG welding, I'll do that 95% of the time.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I knew you were the TIG welder, but I mean, it's good sometimes people that miss the beginning. You got to recap all the important info. Because I think for any mobility welder, especially a quad, it sounds like that's kind of the option, or like the better option, the safer option.
And there's lots of different types of welding: MIG welding, TIG welding, arc welding. Then there's gas welding, and like variations on each. Like there's lots of like welding is a very complicated and like cool field to look into and study more, just from like a technical perspective. If anybody's interested out there.
Yeah, for sure.
You're never perfected. You're always learning, so that's a really cool part about it.
Yeah, no,
man.
that's what I thought was the coolest about it. It's like one of those hobbies. Like I feel like you could explore so much. Like you can constantly like trying different types of welding. Doing different things. I mean, it's really like you're limited only by your imagination too. Because you can think of it, you can probably figure out how to do it, which is
Absolutely.
very cool.
So what kind of work has the wife asked you to do around the house or in the backyard?
Oh man, I think she still has a list that I haven't finished yet, but there's always something she wants built. I made her a pretty sweet clock for, I believe it was her birthday, out of some sprockets and some clutch plates out of a transmission and a few other pieces of junk, but they're not.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Where do you get a lot of your repurposed material from? Like, do you just find it? Do you go out and buy it?
No, a lot of my friends are motorheads or car junkies, so whatever they've torn
Nice.
apart from their car, in my garage, which was time, but my garage didn't have enough room to fit all of their crap, so I've done some dump.
It's cool. Just going salvage.
Yeah, dude, that's cool.
I'm trying to do
awesome.
a lot of building and fabrication now where I'm using new materials, so I've kind of not totally gotten out of doing the scrap metal type art, but a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is more fabrication, furniture, stuff like that. So just kind of expanding what I do.
That's cool. I mean, that's probably now your skills are a little bit more up, like so you don't have you can like do more intricate things and make different pieces and stuff on your own. So that's badass, man. That's really cool. Yeah, I've always thought your stuff was awesome. So
one thing we like to ask our guests too, kind of as we approach the end of the show, is do you have any advice out there for any new quads that might be getting into the crip life to start, like things that you wish you would have known early on, or just like like general advice or information you want to pass on?
Man, the biggest thing that's always been for me is reaching out to other people in the same situation. There's always questions. I had questions when I first got hurt, and I didn't really have anybody that I knew to reach out to until I got into sports. And once I did, man, it was my world had opened up. So reaching out to other people, getting out there, sports, welding, different activities, pushing different chairs, stuff like that. Just getting out there and doing life. Kind of sitting around and waiting for things to happen. So I think that's the best advice I got.
Great advice. And that can be a little hard during these crazy COVID times, but we do talk about it a lot on here. There's lots of support groups. There's lots of online ways to reach out, even local ways that are starting to open up too. So if you are inclined and you feel like you want to get some, interaction, reach out to us if you're not sure where to go yourself. All of us, I'm sure, are more than willing. I know me, Bobby, and Sean are definitely, and I'm sure Jeremy is for sure open to advice, talking, pointing you in the direction of a support group or, whatever it is you guys might need, if you feel inclined. So really don't hesitate because it's the best thing.
Yeah, and all, like I said earlier too, I'll mention again, all Jeremy's info is in the description. Jeremy's GimpArt is his company and his Instagram and stuff, but all the other info
Go
down
buy
there.
some awesome art. Support some local artists for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Support local artists. That's exactly right.
Valentine's Day is coming up. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Are you making any little Valentine's Day heart things or anything, or what? You got like a something on deck?
If the
Yeah.
price is right, heck yeah, yes.
I got a few people on the. They'll be there and ready.
Nice.
Awesome, man.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, right on, guys. Anything? Let me try to double check for questions if I missed any in the chat.
Well, make sure if you haven't already, we got looks like 18 people watching right now and only 8 people like. So make sure you hit that like button, and especially
the thumbs
with
up.
the great guys, inspiring guests we have today. Make sure we put that like button down there. It helps the channel, helps Sean grow this,
Yeah.
and we can expand this more.
I don't think we have too many other questions, but my buddy Richie also said that too. He's one of our guys down locally here. He said you're a total inspiration and you rock, Jeremy. So yeah, you're a badass.
Thank you for joining us today, man. We really appreciate you taking time to share your passion and to share your art and stuff. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a bit of blast, man.
Yeah, man. We talked about a little bit of everything.
And thank you to our glorious producer and host, Sean, man. You're the best, dude. Thanks for putting this together every week, bro. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, guys.
Yeah, Sean,
Thank
keep
you
up the
guys for joining me. Thanks all the guests for watching, and of course, thank you, Jeremy, man. It's actually, I wish we could have just got to shoot the shit a little bit more and talk, but we'll do that soon here, catch up. But yeah, dude, Jeremy is a badass, and you guys should all follow him for sure. He's one of my buddies, and he's cool. All right, I just wanted to shout him out again because Jeremy's one of my, I don't know, I just always thought he was cool since the start. He's been been cool, man, and helped me a lot.
Cool, dude.
So yeah, dude, just want to shout that out, and everybody said, or like we said earlier, like, subscribe, follow everybody here, and if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Live to roll, everybody. We will see you guys next week. 3:30.